give us a minute.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Wednesday, August 30th, 2023 business meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So since we are missing a few members of our board, I'd like to take a motion to nominate a president pro tem just for tonight from the trustees. So if I could have a motion,
So moved.
and
Who would you like to nominate?
who would you like to nominate?
Natalie.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. So Natalie, you'll be our president pro tem for this evening. Motion passed.
Do they need to
Yeah.
vote?
Oh.
Take the vote?
I guess.
All in favor?
All in
All in
agreement?
Aye.
4-0. Thank you.
Okay.
So Natalie, I'm going to pass this to you.
Ah!
Thank you.
The official
The
gavel.
official gavel. Oh, thank you. All right. So everybody, please help along.
You got
I
it.
guess.
So
So,
now we get the 2.3 now.
Yeah. So, opening remarks, I guess?
Would you ask 2.3, have
Oh, sorry.
ask Jackie to,
So Jackie, can you give us a reiteration of the executive session?
Yes. The board met in executive session to consider the record of a particular student and also a legal matter.
Thank you. All right, so now for opening remarks. I know Michael and Ian couldn't be here today and but everybody here is very excited because school's beginning next week, and we've all been waiting so anxiously since, last time we met in June. So, I'm sure Dr. Champ will have more to say, but I know my kids are very excited. Or so I'm very excited to have them back in school, especially this week when there's no camps or activities.
yes.
So, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, Dr. Champ.
Okay. We want to do the minutes next.
Yep.
3.1.
So, approval of minutes, motion to approve the minutes for the last meeting we had on August 9th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any
Opposed.
opposition? No? Okay. So moved, so approved. Now we're moving to
4.1.
4.1, superintendent's report.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And welcome back. We are excited as well. This week really marks kind of our initial all-in at the administrative and clerical level. So all of our 12-month employees are all in this week to finalize all the preparations for the start of school. So it's a really exciting week for us. The cabinet, we met extensively on Monday to make sure we got everything in order for this week, for next week, and all the critical things for the year ahead. I know Dr. Garcia is going to talk a little bit about new staff orientation. Dr. Bowman's going to talk about our administrative retreat, so I'm not going to steal their thunder. But already it's been a very full and exciting week. Just wanted to touch on a couple items tonight. I know, our meeting, this is really our cleanup meeting for the summer. Critical one in getting, in particular, our staffing in place and some important contracts in place to head into the school year. So I just wanted to highlight a couple things. I'm going to start with an exciting, just hit the presses sort of thing. You're probably going to be hearing more about it. I believe just yesterday, we got notified that the U.S. News World and Report, Pelham Memorial High School went up 8 points from last year and was ranked as 51st best high school in the state. And I think it's 500,
Yay.
definitely praiseworthy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And 523rd best in the nation. So we're incredibly proud of the work that they do. Dr. Bowman doesn't know it, but she stole part of the thunder of my opening speech when she was talking to the administrators today, because we recognize that's not a one-and-done thing that the high school accomplished on their own. And I'll prove it to you. I really did have it written before you said it. But that's the culmination of our children's experience in the district. So the foundation for that is laid in elementary school, and then it's built upon in middle school. So when our students get to high school and we offer the rich program that we do, they have the ability to really excel and to blossom and flourish. So it's the work of our entire faculty and staff for their 12 years of investment in every child that comes through our schools. To bring us to that point. So incredibly proud for the high school. Kudos to the high school faculty too. Like, don't want to diminish their efforts because they just do, they work miracles. And it really shows. It's nice to get those kinds of recognitions. So we're very proud of that recognition. Couple items of note. So next week is the start of school. Our teachers come back on Monday and Tuesday for 2 jam-packed days of professional learning, and then we're looking for our students to return on Thursday. It's a little different every year, just depends how the calendar falls. I did want to make we did get a couple emails about the calendar for this coming school year. I wanted to just kind of point a few things out. Contrary to popular belief, we don't just make up the start and end dates on our own and fill things in between. The Board of Regents, State Education Department sets Regents Rating Day as the last day of school in the school calendar every year. That's in June. And it varies depending on, I don't know what, but it varies depending on what their factors that they play into things. We then back into the school year from that date. We backtrack it all from there. So this coming year, it's actually a very late ending. I believe it's June 26th off the top of my head. So that's Regents Rating Day, which means we then have to backtrack and squeeze in our 185-day calendar from that. And there are certain federal holidays that we have to recognize. We do have some flexibility around things like Mud Week, February break, the winter break, how we recognize that. And variety of pieces in between, but a lot of the holidays, the end date is fixed, Regents exams are fixed, and then we build our calendar backwards around a lot of that. So I know for this coming school year, like you said, a lot of families are without anything this week, which is hard. And then I know we've been contacted, a lot of folks have got sleepaway camps are starting by that last week in June in 2024. We recognize that and understand it, and folks will have to just make the decision that's best for their family. But those are some things that we don't have a ton of control over. So we are working to finalize the moving up ceremonies. We did not put those on the calendar purposefully because we knew that there were some of these challenges. Jim and I have talked with the high school, and we're going to work to try to get the tent. That's been a great solution for us the last few years, having all the moving ups and graduation under the tent. We just need to be able to see if we can book that for a little bit longer time frame, and we're hoping to do all the moving ups the week before the end of school and graduation, and you'll see it on the calendar tonight. I think, where was this last time? No, that was last time. We approved the adjustment to move graduation to the 22nd of June. So even though Regents Rating Day is the following week, our seniors are done. So graduation will be the 22nd. All the moving up ceremonies will be the week prior to that. So I just wanted to share some of that thinking there. One more item, because I'm trying to keep it brief tonight. Our sections. We've obviously been processing a lot of registrations. Juliana, our registrar, has been working overtime, processing a lot of last-minute registrations, and we've been monitoring numbers, sharing those with the board. We think that where we stand right now is where we're likely to stand for the opening of school, and we're fully staffed for this. So I know that there were a couple different pressure points at the different schools right now. We're looking at 3 sections of kindergarten in most of our elementary schools, 3 at Colonial, 3 at Hutchinson, 3 at Prospect. We are maintaining 2 sections at Siwanoy. We're within or at board guidelines across all sections district-wide at the elementary level. But we did meet to identify where we're going to place some additional support staff to help where there are larger classes. So we do anticipate some interns and other types of additional support being spread to those, especially those sections that are at maximum. Principals and teachers will be conveying that information to classes, so I don't want to necessarily get into huge detail here, but that will be conveyed. So first grade, Colonial is looking very large, but maintaining those 2 sections within board guidelines, 3 sections at the other grade levels. Second grade, we have 2 sections at Colonial and 3 sections across the other schools. Third grade, 2 sections at Siwanoy, and again, they're at a large group, so there'll be additional support provided there. 3 sections across the other buildings. Grade 4, we have 2 sections at Colonial, 2 at Prospect Hill, 2 at Siwanoy, and 4 at Hutchinson. So kind of an interesting twist. And then at grade 5, we have 2 sections at Colonial that are large, again, looking to support those, 3 sections at the other buildings. But again, all within the board guidelines that we've talked about continually and consistently. So we're excited about that and looking forward to, teachers have already been in, lots of classrooms are already getting set up. And we're looking forward to that coming to fruition in the next week's time. And I'm going to end my report there. I know the board knows, but originally we had planned to do our goals and a lot of other items tonight. But given that we're missing a few board members, we wanted to make sure to do those things when everyone's here. So we'll be reviewing a lot next week, or at our next board meeting. We'll be doing the facilities, opening of school update, in addition to board goals for the year, et cetera. So thank you for that, and I will pass it back to Natalie at this
Okay.
point to move on to the other
Right.
reports from the cabinet.
So now we're going to do Assistant Superintendent update on authentic learning.
That's me. As Dr. Champ mentioned, today was the first day of our administrative retreat. We got together and did a lot of work today from beginning to end, so much so that we've revamped some of the agenda, which I know I sent to you earlier, so that we can really dig into some of the more poignant topics. We today focused on district goals, our strategic plan, MTSS, and tomorrow we're going to continue that work. We're going to talk about special education and our SEL benchmark, which we did in this last year, to gap analysis to see where we are with that. We also are going to be discussing open AI tomorrow, as well as chasing space. We have a safety tabletop exercise to get us started for the year, among some other events that had people up out of their seats doing all kinds of things, and we'll continue with those activities tomorrow to just make sure people weren't sitting all day long. We are getting ready for superintendent's conference days, where we're going to have some sessions from Branching Minds. We'll be getting some training on flexible furniture, responsive classroom. There'll be team building exercises. All of our faculties will meet, as well as every department and grade level team. Over the summer, I've been working to, make sure that our grants are all in copacetic order, ready to go. Working on our plan to really focus on MTSS this year, multi-tiered systems of support, so our interventions are the right interventions for the right students at the right time. We have been, Mr. Ricky and I met with our attorney and our support staff about residency and registration to kind of firm up our process to make sure that we can expeditiously make sure that people who live here and are registering are able to do so without missing school days, and also to firm up a process to make sure if there are questions about residency that we can effectively and efficiently manage those situations. We did announce in June, but we're very excited, so I'm going to tell you again, that the state approved our application for the Seal of Civic Readiness. So we are getting very ready. Dr. Thompson and the committee worked very hard to make sure that we're ready, so we're excited to get that started. And finally, over the summer, Dr. Champ and I met with each of the building principals to talk about their school's year, how the students progressed, what things they saw that worked well, what things that they have as goals for this year. And I have to say that at each one, it was very insightful and very not helpful. It was great to see how well each of the principals know their building. They know their students. Anytime a name came up, they could tell you the whole story of that child and what was going on with them and what supports have been put into place. And that was really a wonderful opportunity for each of the principals to showcase what it is that they do on a daily basis. And that's all I have to share with you tonight.
Thank you. All right, moving along, we're going to go to the Assistant Superintendent update on the whole child.
Thank you. Okay, I'll try to make it brief too. There's a lot to share. It was a very busy summer. We were working on a lot of filling staffing needs, so we're very excited. We have our new fourth grade co-teacher starting with us, Miss Danielle Powers. I got to spend some time with her over the summer as she came in to orient herself to Hutch and her co-teacher, so that was exciting. We're still, we've, I think, fully staffed almost as of today, so that's good news. We did hire, in the budget, the board had approved a part-time chairperson for us as we're seeing some increase in volume of our meetings. That person had something unexpected happen, an offer which caused her to rescind her acceptance. So we actually have a good backup plan in the works, so I'll have more to report probably at the next meeting, but we think we'll be able to fill that quickly. All finalized IEP and 504 plans should be in the hands of parents. We are required to do so from a compliance perspective before the start of school. And the first couple of weeks of school, all of the teaching staff and the staff members that interface with our students are required to read the documents so they are aware of our students' goals, their accommodations and modifications. They have to sign compliance logs saying that they've read the documents so that they're aware of their starting points for our students and what the roadmap is for the year. So the teachers will be busy, the staff will be busy. Professional development has been at the forefront also of a lot of our planning and special education this summer. Our ICT coaching will continue for this year. We have 8 days planned both at the elementary and at the secondary level with our coaches, so we're happy about that. So that will be starting, I think, just as soon as September. We'll hit the ground running with our coaches. I also spent some time over the summer meeting our new SEPTA co-chairs, Miss Catherine Cohen, who's a prospect parent, Miss Amanda Plerchio, who's our Hutchinson parent. We discussed their goals for SEPTA this year, which their priority is to focus on the concept of inclusion. So super excited to be working with the two of them. They're very excited and energized to get on board. They are also busy planning. I believe they may have a neurodiversity author talk for one of their SEPTA meetings set up, so that will be exciting. Pelham's Got Talent will continue. They have an event scheduled for December 1st, and also Friday, May 3rd, so everyone come out and support that. As far as social emotional learning, also professional development will continue in that realm. We have our continued coaching for support staff at the secondary level for our DBT. That's our Tier 2, Tier 3 supports for our students that are in need of that. So that coaching will continue this year. Responsive classroom will also, professional development will continue this year, both coaching and continued professional development. This year we're going to do just a series of one-day workshops. We picked 2 topics this year, one sustaining momentum with responsive classroom, and also the second topic is connecting morning meeting to academics. Our first responsive classroom professional development for our teachers is the second day of Superintendent Conference Day. So that is also exciting news. In terms of counseling, the counseling department will be really busy and has been busy over the summer. I think scheduling changes are happening, and that opened up this year. Students got their schedule, so I know Mr. Farrell's working a lot on that at the high school level. We have also the counseling staff really hits the ground running in the high school. They'll be in classes as early as September 18th to start visiting with our seniors and talking about the college application process. Senior college night will be September 19th. Financial aid night, October 24th. So everyone really pay attention to what's on the website for the counseling department. A lot of events coming up. We also have PSATs for sophomores and juniors, which are on October 11th. PSATs for the first year are computer-based. So that's something that will be new, but the app's been downloaded to all student Chromebooks, so they'll have an opportunity to practice that before that actually happens for them on the 11th. A lot of college visits are already set up for the fall. I think there's about 74 colleges that are coming to visit us starting also as early as September. We have a wide cross-section of colleges visiting us: McGill, SUNY Cobleskill, Texas Southern, I'm sorry, that's where they visited. We have just a variety of colleges, I'm sorry, that we're visiting. I lost my space. We do have one of our counselors in the high schools on maternity leave, so Ms. Honor Fagan will be stepping in for Ms. Caitlin Cuccia. And she comes to us with experience from Don Bosco in New Jersey, a preparatory school. So we're very excited to have her joining us. Ninth grade orientation happened yesterday, so lots of busyness going on in the counseling department. Lastly, just in terms of nursing, our new nurse coordinator started last week, Danielle Jamie, so she's been really busy working on updating information for our school nurses, making sure the nurses have updated immunization schedules, updated information on concussion protocols, so she's been really great and hit the ground running. We also, I'm afraid to say the C word, but COVID is still something that we're thinking about, but the protocols, as you're all aware, the public health emergency declaration ended last year in May. So the COVID protocols that we'll be starting this school year with were the similar ones to where we ended last year. We're going to follow the CDC and Department of Health guidelines. Ms. Jamie, our nurse coordinator, has been on the phone with Westchester DOH to make sure that we're up to date on what we need to do. So it'll be similar guidelines, and we'll be sending information, just generally what we'll be doing, which is similar to last year. And I think that's all from me.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, so we'll move on to Executive Director, update on Human Resources and Learning.
Great. So I will be brief as well. Just some exciting work this week. We invited all our new teachers to join us for the orientation sessions on Monday and Tuesday. Is it working? How's that? Good? All right. So Monday and Tuesday, they were here with us. And the beginning of Monday, we started off with a technology boot camp. And that was led by Mr. Sabalos, John Sabalos, Director of Technology, and Alicia Del Mastro, who is our tech support specialist. And they really introduced them to the systems. And as you know, since COVID, so much is now through Google Classroom and online. So it's a great way to kind of get them introduced to the system and the expectations we have for the technology use. And then in the afternoon, I speak to them about basically the welcoming them, but also talking about the Pelham story that they're beginning. And I go through a little history lesson on what we've done over the past 10 years, and then I pass it off to Dr. Bowman, who spoke about teaching and learning and the expectations we have really as learners, all different types of learners, whether kids and also adults. The following day, they were brought back, and Dr. Champ welcomed them and really did a great overview of the school system and the expectations we have of the teachers. And Mr. Alex Wolf came by and spoke about the district communications audit and what we plan on doing in response to that. And then Ms. Tracy Holtz joined with her team, PPS group, and spoke about all the wonderful systems we have in place and supports for our kids, but also as teachers, what obligations we have to address the needs of all our learners. And then Jenna Connolly, who's the mentor coordinator who kind of co-plans with me, she works with me in terms of like designing what happens during the school year, but also helps select our mentor teachers, and also really is sort of the main resource for them as new employees of the district. And she's basically spoke about the mentor relationship with their mentees. Afterwards, Mr. Jim Rickey came by with his staff and spoke about payroll and benefits and the processes which are involved, and also getting their ID tags, which is wonderful. But it's fun. It's what's interesting is that throughout the years I've been doing this, that becomes the most important piece for them. For some reason, they're, when are we going to learn about this? When are we getting When are we doing? Which is great. And Jim does a wonderful job with the staff and the questions. It rounds up in the afternoon around 2 o'clock, where Mark Finnegan, who is the Pelham Teacher Association president, has a pretty much more of a closed-door session with them, just to kind of get them comfortable with their benefits and how they're supported. So it used to be 3 days, moved it to 2 days. Tech boot camp used to be a full day, but we kind of condensed it. They're pretty well shell-shocked by the end of, 2 days, so that's good enough. But then they do come back, and of course, they'll be joining us next week. And the final count really is 9 new teachers. Thought it was a little less, but it's really, we have a few returning who were leaves last year, so they started maybe mid-year or later on in the year, but 7 brand new. And we were just noticing that seemed like a little lower than the past, but we think about through COVID, we hired a lot of individuals with leaves and so forth. But I'm pretty confident that number is going to increase over the next few years. So they're very excited. I think they're a really good group. A lot of experienced teachers as well. So I think that's well. And also, I just want to thank the administrators, Tracy and her staff, really finding there was a need to find some individuals over the past. You'll see in the agenda we have some ins and we have some outs of individuals, which is typical. Some of them we didn't expect, maybe a resignation here or there. I think people decided to retire and move on, which is wonderful for them. But then we have to make sure we find the best candidates. So it's been kind of a flurry the past few days, and which, again, typical. But in terms of the faculty and staff, I think we hired a really great bunch of new teachers. So looking forward to see them start.
Well, I want to thank you, Steve, because as, most of us had a laid-back summer.
Yes.
You were busy working.
Well, look, I'll say that we all took little breaks, but I'm not going to hide from that. But yes, it's always in the back of our mind, right? And there's always a rotation of people in and out. And I've said this before to you and to the community, is that Pelham is a very attractive place to be, whether I think as child, parents, but also especially with employees. So that reputation does help a lot.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Assistant Superintendent update on finance and facilities.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. So as Dr. Chant mentioned, on September 6th, the board is going to schedule a walkthrough of all district facilities before the beginning of school. And it's really an opportunity for us to demonstrate to the board all of the work that's been done and to show that the schools are ready to begin the new school year. So some of the things that happened over the last summer, we cleaned 450,000 square feet of buildings, 3,400 desks and chairs, 1,500 lockers, 160-plus classrooms, and 7 gymnasiums. In this particular facility at the high school middle school campus, there was one day this summer that was not programmed with students in it. So we did that while this place was generally full or occupied for most of the summer. That also accounts for all the town recreation programs that ran at all the elementary schools except Siwanoy this summer. So we only got the schools back just a few weeks ago, and we work really hard, and our team works really hard on making sure that we get the schools in really good shape for our students. And again, I think it's great. Our youngest ones at the elementary schools, they get an opportunity to feel really comfortable at our buildings at a young age. So hopefully that makes their transition to kindergarten that much better. And our older students work as counselors and CITs. So it's very nice to see that happening too. Having worked next to Colonial too, I get a chance to see the kids that won't let go of their parents' legs at the beginning of the summer. And then don't want to leave at the end of the day as well. So it is very nice. Some of the work that took place this summer, just to kind of touch on it briefly. Colonial Elementary School, we had to replace an air conditioning unit at the library, all done in-house. We had to prepare for a new classroom, and we had to replace some larger window shades in both of the stairwells at Colonial. At Hutchinson, we installed a new big kid playground. It looks wonderful, and it's getting use already. You're going to have a chance to see that. We also replaced the sidewalk and curb and retaining wall on 5th Street. That work was also coordinated with the Village of Pelham. I understand they're going to be paving that road shortly as well. So nothing drives people nuts more than when a road gets paved and a week later it's getting jackhammered up or it's getting cut into pieces. That's not going to happen there. So that's really nice for it to happen. At Prospect Hill on the 2nd floor, in the hallway, we had to, once school closed, we had to have asbestos abatement. Again, this is all monitored and done under the auspices of an engineer, a certified engineer. We replaced the floor tiles and the asbestos and put down a new floor on the 2nd floor. We repainted many sections of the hallways, radiators. In 3 classrooms, we installed new ceiling tiles and LED lights. Less exciting stuff, the boiler room was power washed and painted. You can eat off the floor in there now. And then outside, of course, we did new mulch, and coming soon, if they can work it into their schedule, we want to have that blacktop sealed before the beginning of the school. We're getting close on time there, though. Hopefully, if they get there in time, obviously we don't want people tracking tar into the building, but we want to reseal the front and the back of those areas. It'll dress it up nicely. We'll put down some new lines, and it'll clean up that area very nice. So that's happy. We're happy to do that at Prospect Hill. At Siwano, we did tons of painting. We prepared a new classroom because we have in the enrollment that Dr. Champ talked about, so we had to prepare a new classroom. And the larger kid playground was installed, which is terrific, with the safety surface, which should be getting installed shortly. So we expect that to be up and running for the beginning of the school year. The smaller children's playground set has been ordered. We expect probably to receive that in the spring timeframe. And again, once we get it, if we can get it installed as quickly as possible, we will certainly do it, and it'll be great to see the smiles on our students' faces. And then we did have to prune and remove some dead trees at Siwano. I think I spoke to the board, mentioned this to the board in a previous report. We have an arborist who reviews the trees, provides recommendations. Really what we had to do in this instance is we had some trees that were dead. We removed what was dead. We pruned other areas for selective pruning, taking the weight off of those trees, and we're going to provide some replacements to those trees either in the fall or the springtime, which is really the best time to plant trees. We've asked the arborist for some selections too, so that'll be nice to see. At the high school, the 2018 bond work has been finishing up. Amen. Dr. Champ and I walked in our first year to that 6 years ago, so we're excited for that to happen. The former bridge room has been reconfigured into a regular classroom, so that space was redone, and we'll be able to share that work with the board, which was refinishing the floors, new ceiling and lights. So it's another classroom that's put back into the rotation. In the cafeterias, we installed LED lights and painted many of the serving areas. Again, new furniture in the new rooms from the 2018 bond. More paint. And then at Glover Field, on the artificial turf, we do a deep cleaning and a real prep of that field as we do at the beginning of every year on all three of those turf spaces, on Friendship, on Glover Field, and then the new turf field, the baseball fields that you have there. So we were working really hard on those items for facilities, and we'll be able to share that with you later on September 6th. On this evening's agenda, we're going to be asking the board to approve the district-wide safety plan. At the reorganization meeting, if you recall, there was a public hearing for the district-wide safety plan. The district-wide safety plan has to be reviewed. I have to have a public hearing. The district-wide safety plan has to be made available for public viewing for a minimum of 30 days before it can be approved by the board. It needs to be approved before school begins. So that's why it's before you. And again, these plans were reviewed by our Alteris with our public safety partners, our safety committee, and our building and administrative leaders, so before it came to the board. We have some budget transfers. Some of it relate back to the 22-23 budget. Part of they're generally more routine in what we do every year. We have some transfers that we have to do at end of year just to kind of get all of those budget lines established for end of the year. As you'll see, most of them are related to facilities and technology projects, or contractual or BOCES items related to student need, lunch, or substitute coverages. That's the bulk of those items. We also have some items for the 23-24 budget related to some textbook funds related to secondary and elementary, just some back and forth there. Some of our insurance premiums came in a little bit higher than we had anticipated, so we're able to, we want to make sure we're well insured. And personally, I think I'm seeing the same thing in my personal life. We're seeing a little bit of an increase there. And some of it's just to cover some labor costs for overtime. On this evening's agenda, there's also 3 transportation appeals. Those items, as the board knows, were heard by the board. There's nothing in the public document that identifies these items or that would identify these students. And certainly we've identified these as appeals 1, 2, and 3, which the board has the opportunity to approve or deny based on the board policy. There are two items on this evening's agenda related to the 2018 capital bond and change orders. Pursuant to authorization provided by the board, change orders up to $25,000 I'm able to approve, up to $50,000 the superintendent has the authorization to approve. However, we need to make notification to the board after those, once those notifications have been made. So there's two notifications here related to two of those items, and these are acknowledgements that are to be made. Our external audit is taking a little bit longer than usual this year. Just it's a matter of, not because I don't think they found anything wrong, I think it's just a matter of workload as the auditors work through it, and we'll convene the audit committee once that's completed as well for the draft, and it's got to be approved by the board by that state deadline. I believe it's October 15th of every year. So it's coming, it's right around the corner. And then this evening, we have a tax cert settlement. Again, tax certiorari's or a tax cert is when a commercial property owner appeals the assessment on their property. The district, jointly with the town of Pelham, are represented by outside counsel on these items. And the item before the board this evening is at a point where outside counsel is recommending that this be settled. And as you can see, the refund amount is just under $13,000. Those funds would be eventually transferred from our tax certiorari reserve, which the district has funded to handle those items. Other than that, I think that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Can't wait for next week when we do the tour. I was in, yeah, it's a good tour, plus I need to see those playgrounds. I was at Glover yesterday, and it was busy. It was incredibly busy. All the kids are there, getting ready for football. So they're all practicing for the last couple of weeks, so.
That's great. And I know our director, our grounds foreman and our athletic director turned and operated every scoreboard district-wide last week, too, because I know there was an issue last year. And everything, as of last week or the beginning of this week, everything is up and running there as well. So just all those little things that we want to add up to work out well for everybody.
Yeah, I asked them about the safety net, because it was there, I guess, before the summer was over, and now it's gone, but,
Baseball, right?
yeah, I know, so I was like, but it looks better without the safety net, but I do understand why it's needed sometimes, so.
Yeah, no, they do a wonderful job, and you're right, the facility has a tremendous amount of use. That's wonderful for the community, and we're very fortunate, and I think people really take good care of it.
Yep. Thanks. So thank you. So now moving on to 5.1, but, comments from the community.
Seeing no one?
Right, we're gonna move on.
Right.
Should I do a consent agenda for,
Yeah, I think you can do.
yeah, 6.1?
Through
Yeah.
6.14.
Yeah, to 6.14, and that basically is motion to approve organization chart, BOE meeting dates, any motion to budget transfers, to rescind the resignation, our approval of that offer. So 6.1, so a motion from 6.1 to 6.14, so consent there.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, so a pass,
Can I highlight just a couple quick things?
yes.
Just really for the audience, if anyone's watching, organization chart, that was just updating of names, making sure that's updated to correct. The Board of Education meeting dates were part of that, and I think that's important that having that approved tonight really helps us to now map out the year. So definitely looking forward to a couple work sessions in the year to come. October, we're looking at a work session on budget and looking at kind of the impact of the work, the programs that we've built, staffing that we've added over the last 2 strategic plans. So we're excited about that. Also November, looking at our Tri-States partnership and how that has shaped our work on authentic assessment. And also, I should have said too, with the October board meeting, an opportunity for the board to start talking about budget a little bit sooner, give us some of those strategic goals that you would like to see as we head into the budget development process. As Jim mentioned, the district-wide safety plan is in there, so thank you for approval with that. Just so folks know, we have 6.7 was a research project. As folks in the district faculty undertake graduate and doctoral work, if they ask permission to conduct studies within the school district, we need board approval of that for their IRB process. So that's another one of our administrators is pursuing her doctorate, and so we're looking forward to the work that she's going to do there. Yeah. Also, 6.8, I know it would be of specific interest to the board too. That is continued executive coaching for me with Judy Wilson. Also with the add of what we had talked about, some additional coaching, her getting feedback to help inform that work. So that is, happy to bring that to you tonight. And the rest are pretty straightforward from what you can see there. So I just wanted to add some color to those for anyone who's curious. I think we can move on.
All right,
Oh,
so
good.
now we're gonna move on to 6.15, motion to deny transportation appeal.
Number one.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just some color on this. You know, every year we get some appeals, and as a board, we meet and evaluate them. We do have a policy, and we go by our policy. So while we understand as parents who have children who are, you know, traveling to school, and we totally could put ourselves in that position, we are, you know, looking at it from a lens of there is a policy and we have to abide by our policy, so. So, yes, motion to deny. Transportation appeal number one.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, so, motion to deny transportation appeal number two.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? We have another motion to deny transportation appeal number three.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? And now we're gonna have 6.18, which is motion to approve site letter of agreement with CEA.
Just quickly, this pertains to staff members who's requesting a half-year leave to tend to a family matter.
Okay, all in favor?
Sorry,
Oh,
how does
sorry.
that relate to the? I'm not sure I
Exactly what
follow.
it's about, because there's, in the CSEA contract, there's limitations in how much time they can take.
I see.
So this is a
I got it. Thank you.
special issue with this one individual.
Got it. Sure. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, so it passes. Then we have 6.19, which is motion to dispose of equipment. This is the standard, we do it all the time. So,
So moved.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, and then we have motion to accept donations. This is usually something we love doing. And then I have to read everything, right? Okay, so,
Generally, the
Yeah.
resolution
just a
might be-
resolution.
might be
Yeah.
the abbreviated
Okay.
version. Yeah.
So that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of school, the Board of Education of Pelham Union Free School District does hereby accept the monetary donation of $1,000 for the Compass Realty Scholarship Fund, and that gratitude be bestowed upon its donor, Compass McLean Real Estate. Be it further resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Pelham Union Free School District does hereby accept the monetary donation of $1,500 for the Pelham Memorial High School band, and that gratitude be bestowed upon its donor, the American Legion Pelham Post 50. So those were two separate ones. but basically it's money coming to us via donations, and we're very thankful. And there's a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstention? We would like to thank both the Compax Realty and McLean Real Estate, as well as the American Legion Pelham Post 50 for their donation. I'm sure the band will use that money with their new uniform.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope to see them at Glover during, Friday Night Lights,
Yes.
so.
They want to be there.
Right, hope to
Yep.
see them there, so. Okay, so now, we have some policy and governance. Motion to, we have some policies that are in the third reading, so this means we have to, this is where we approve. So, Dr. Champ, can you please help
Yeah.
us with the,
Sure.
the policies?
Yeah, it might make sense for us to start with 7.1 on its own. That's the code of
Okay.
conduct. So
Okay.
just so the board knows, we had, similar to the safety plan, we had a hearing on this back at the reorganization meeting, statutory annual review. Tonight it's up for final approval. There are a couple tweaks made to it since you saw that at the reorganization meeting. And one more that we need to make on the spot. There was an adjustment made per the policy committee that we mentioned back at the reorg meeting, and that was on about, of course, it doesn't have page numbers, the section about students' rights and responsibilities. There was section 1, a line was added under the students' responsibilities to attend school daily, regularly and on time, actively engage and participate to the fullest potential, perform assignments, and strive to do the highest quality work possible, and be granted the opportunity to receive a good education. So that was in the original draft proposal. We're continuing to recommend that tonight. We also added a phrase that we had been using on the website, but we worked to incorporate it into the text that just speaks to where, because so many board policies are reflected in the code of conduct, if a board policy is updated and it doesn't match with the code, that the policy prevails. So Pauline, I don't know off the top of your head if you know exactly where that was inserted. Again, we don't have page numbers, but that was an addition that Alex and Pauline worked on to basically wrap that into the text of the document, so it was no longer freestanding. And then also, Anne Marie, I believe, caught one more item that I would like to ask that, if the board approves this tonight, that we approve with the amendments, with the adjustments that were discussed tonight. That one of the Dignity Act coordinator names needed to be updated, and that was changing Beth Antonelli at the high school as a DASA coordinator to Dr. Carrie Titone as the building's DASA coordinator. So I would ask that the board consider approving it with those three amendments as discussed.
So just a question, in terms of if a policy is changed, because a lot of it, like you said, does link back, the policy would take precedent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we try to do is keep track of all that, and then when we get to the revision, that, as I said, we bring this to the board every year, try to make sure that we then reconcile those differences and make the adjustments in the code of conduct.
So can we take a motion to approve?
Yes, that would be
So
wonderful.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions? Okay, so
Okay.
policy approved, code of
Excellent.
conduct. Okay, so moving on to the next policy, 7.2.
Yes, so we may be able to consider all these together. These are, again, these are three policies that require annual review by the board: district investments, purchasing, and district, actually, no, the first two, we'll take those two together, are required annual approval. No changes to those policies. Jim's office reviews them. He often as well will frequently have the audit committee take a look at them each year too as well. So they are up to date and being recommended with no change. So that would be 7.2 and 7.3.
So can we take a motion to approve district investment and purchasing?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? Okay, policy 7.3 5220 and 5410 have been approved. Now going into policy 5110, budget planning and development.
Great. And this was another one. It's in the business area, but certainly the budget is one of the major areas of responsibility of the board. So again, just one sentence added for clarification.
Yep.
And get to the beginning. The process for budget planning and development should allow for community input and contain numerous opportunities for public information and feedback. And here's the addition, and be guided by the direction of the Board of Education or designated committee.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions for this policy? Okay, so it passed. So moving on to policy
Finally.
6215,
Yes.
probation and tenure.
this is the most policy I think we've ever done at an August meeting. This is great.
Yes.
So third review, this is a policy related to probation and tenure. And the opportunity here was to bring this up to date to match the current APPR law. I don't know if there's anything-
I don't want to say a lot has changed since 2016, but it was time to just make sure we were, had some compliance pieces in there.
Right, so motion to approve?
So moved.
Go ahead.
Second.
Getting lots of
All in
practice.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstention? Okay, so we passed policy 6215. Again, these policies have been reviewed many times. This is a third reading as per our policy on policies.
Right.
So we review them 3 times, and I know the policy committee has been meeting on these for many months, and I'm glad that we actually got so many
Yes,
approved
that's
today
great.
and ready for the school year.
And we always just, I know the board knows this, but again, for anyone who may be watching, we always have legal counsel review our policies as well. So really, they do good level of scrutiny. So, thank you.
All right, so we're moving on to superintendent's personnel recommendations.
We can do
Uh,
consent for these.
Yeah, we're gonna do a consent agenda for 8.1 to 8.4. It's just approval to, a motion to approve instructional extra duty appointments, teachers or, personnel items, so.
And just some ins and outs, but also just one thing I just wanted to notice, I know there could be a comment, what are overages, just for some new board members? So it's really a secondary teacher matter with grades 6 through 12. When a teacher, to be a full-time equivalency teacher, FTE, it's 5 classes. That meets, let's say, every day in the entire year. At times, we do have teachers teach an extra period or 2. Science is always kind of funky with labs, which is interesting for us. But in the past few years, we tried to sort of condense those, but they're all part of the budget when we review it, just anticipating how many overage we may need. And sometimes it benefits us to kind of put all these overages together and maybe hire a brand-new teacher, and sometimes it doesn't due to scheduling between the 2 schools. So it's just an explanation about overages and what they're all about.
Right, so motion to approve 8.1 through 8.4.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so we passed those. And now moving on to motion to approve Schedule D for special education, 9.1.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Now we move on to new business.
No new business from me tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be very busy starting next week.
Yes, we are.
So then, I think that brings us to, any comments from, there's no one here today. And then, we'll take them,
Motion to adjourn?
so move, yeah.
Oh, second.
Sec. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
There's absolutely no, right, no one objecting to that. Okay.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all so much. All right.
Thank you all for helping.
Very well.